election of 2025 officers. So, I would actually like to stand down if that's at all possible, because I'm going to be doing a lot of travelling in the coming months, and I can't always guarantee being here. So, having done it for the last couple of years, I'd like to throw it open for somebody else. So, how do we go about this? Do we look for a volunteer, or do we want the vice to step up?
I will volunteer. I will volunteer, yes.
I would second that. All those in favour?
Aye.
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 Any against? There you go, duly elected. And then we should
So
have
is
a
this
vice.
going to be his first meeting?
We can change chairs, actually, that would work. And do I have a nomination for a vice president?
Would you want to serve as vice president if you're not president? Or do you not want either position due to your schedule?
Yeah, my schedule's making it a little hard for the coming months, so I'm quite happy to stay on the board, but if one of you three would like to do it, that would suit me better.
Nate, what do you think?
I'll be happy to do it, but I was just getting ready to look at Vicky.
And I'm
As I
looking at
turned
you.
around, you guys were both looking at me. I'd be happy to do it, yes.
Okay, so the nomination is for Nate.
I will second it.
All those in favour?
Aye.
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 Solved. So, do you want to swap seats, or do you want me to conduct it tonight? Do
I'm sorry?
you want to swap seats, or do you want me to do it tonight?
As long as it's okay. Mark,
What do we normally do?
can he still?
Yeah, you can stay seated.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, then you can run it.
Oh, I get to run it now?
Sure.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, we're just not swapping seats.
okay.
Plus, I wasn't here for the last meeting either,
Sure,
so.
Roll call. David, do you want to?
Sure. Pete Saunders,
Here.
Vicky Guszkowski,
Present.
Mark Danielson,
Present.
Brian Cager,
Present.
Nate Laux.
Here.
All present.
Item number 3, approval of minutes from the December meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 4. Let's see. Variance of Development Standards 2501 petition to exceed maximum accessory building area requested 1,600 square feet. Will the applicant come forward, please? State your name and address.
Okay, yeah, I'm Kyle Algrim. My address is 2 Green Acres in LaPorte. Wanted to build a detached garage, kind of for space for vehicles. Right now, I can't park my truck in there, or in our garage. And then just like a play area for my kids in the winter months when it's nice and freezing cold here in LaPorte, Indiana. So that's really all it is. My intentions were to try to match the house as best as possible, use like a wainscot, limestone on our front of our house is all limestone. And then I was planning to do metal, like a standing seam, similar metal. When I did everything through David, he recommended a matching facade, like smart siding or something like that. So I'm open to whatever on that. So I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay.
David, would you like to?
So item number 4, variance of development standards 25-01 petition is to exceed maximum accessory building area requesting 1,600 square feet. This property is located at 2 Green Acres. The property is outlined in red. The petitioner supplied a site plan of where the proposed 32 by 50 building would go, kind of at the end of the driveway there, as you see, as he has outlined there. The property itself is .7, about 3/4 of an acre, and is currently zoned R1B Single Family Residential District. The property currently has the existing dwelling as well as an attached garage on the back east of the existing house there. as you see on the site plan. This is proposed to be used for personal storage and other use. So the board is to take into account decision criteria for these requests. One, that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. This proposed size for 1,600 square feet building size will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. This requested size is comparable to a lot of the existing buildings within some of the surrounding neighborhoods that are of similar lot sizes around Kingsbury Avenue and East 18th Street. And two, that the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The use and value of the area adjacent to the subject property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner with the construction of a 1,600 square foot, single-story detached accessory building. The existing buildings in the area range from about 1,000 square feet to about 1,700 square feet on a similar lot size as a half acre, all the way up to 2.5 acre lots, just within this general area. And lastly, three, that the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought. The strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the subject property that is about 3/4 of an acre. The proposed 32-foot by 50-foot accessory building would provide reasonable use of the property for personal storage and use. So city staff recommends adding a condition to the approval of the variance that the proposed single-story accessory building shall be composed of similar exterior materials for site-built residential dwellings or the house that's there. Section 14.01B1 sets forth requirements for primary materials on on-site built residential dwellings to consist of one or more of the following. And one is residential horizontal aluminum, vinyl, or fiber cement lap siding. 2, cedar or other wood siding. 3, stucco. 4, brick. 5, stone, which includes native stone, cultured stone, cast, or other masonry material with the appearance of looking like stone. 6, other similar quality material, the above as determined by staff. And so staff does recommend approval of the petitioner's request, finding that it does conform to the goals and policies of the countywide land development plan, and fits within the general nature of the surrounding area and the neighborhood, to exceed the maximum area limitations for accessory buildings to allow a 1,600 square foot of total accessory building area as part of variance of development standards petition 25-01, and with the following condition, I just added in the section in the zoning ordinance for reference. So I'll answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you.
I have questions. So is this like a pole barn structure, David?
Let's open up the public.
I think the applicant can answer.
Yeah,
Sure,
is this,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, it would be it's gonna be like a post frame built structure, correct? But it's gonna look like a garage.
okay, but the building material or like
Correct,
the,
I'm gonna do,
Okay.
columns and then build it that way, but then it would still, like so I'm definitely gonna do, well, whatever you guys say, obviously, but, my intentions were to do a wainscot limestone in the front, because the front of my house is all limestone now.
Yep.
On the side, there is some cedar siding that I was gonna paint, that we were planning to paint anyway, so I was gonna do that at the same time of the project, and it'll be the same color as what the new structure would be. And then I was hoping to do metal, it's RX4 is the panel, it looks like standing seam, it's not standing seam, but it looks very similar.
So you're gonna be using one of the 6 options that they gave in his report.
That wasn't my initial intention, but that was what David had recommended in just this week. So he said that you guys would make the final decision on that, so.
Okay.
But I'm open to that, yes.
So that was your plan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Mr. Algram, is that your name?
Algram, yep.
Algram, Mr. Algram. Can you tell me then, do you know, have you talked to any of your neighbors about this?
Yep, Yep, I've talked to all of them.
And everyone,
Everyone is on board.
Okay.
So,
all right.
yeah,
Well, Nate, I mean, you had to notify your neighbors, right?
correct, yep,
So-
I
absolutely.
just want to make sure.
And I actually spoke with
right.
them,
Yep,
yes.
I
Yeah,
just wanna-
actually, the
It's always
Anders-
good to be a good neighbor, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. The
But also, Nate,
Andersons.
if there was a problem, they could be here also.
For sure. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, the Andersons next door, actually, she came over and rang my doorbell tonight and asked if she'd come support, and I was like, well, the meeting's tonight, so it's a little late probably for you, but yeah, so.
Well, and there are similar structures like that. in
Yeah,
neighborhood
actually, the
anyways.
one that's gonna, right there where you see, there, that's a detached garage there, that's really
Oh, okay,
a
yeah.
large size as well.
Yeah.
And it's, that's actually a two-story, and that's what I look at, so when I look out my window, but
Okay.
but it's been there forever. It's real, it is a nice building too, though.
David, I have one, I'm a bit unclear as to what the variance is from.
Yeah, so,
Standard.
yeah, so the standard is that you can have 721 square feet. I should have included that in the description.
That was the missing bit.
He's going from a total of 721 square feet for the maximum area limitations to the total area size of 1,600 square feet. So if he was to build a 32 by 50, which is 1,600 square feet.
Yeah.
That's
that
the
would be all we could
largest
have.
that I would build. That's, I just wanted to see what,
Okay, you're not saying you're going to build a 1,600 square foot necessarily.
it would be very close, within
Okay.
a few feet. I thought I might, once we get out there, I want to see kind of where it's going to land, so I might go a little narrower. I was
Okay.
thinking the depth because in the back of it, I wanted to do a golf simulator because I like golf way too much, and my kids like golf way too much, so.
You gotta take care of the kids first.
That's right, so.
David, you had wanted to make this variance contingent on some buildings, specifications to make sure it matches. Will you put it in there that the building and materials has to get approved by the engineering department or the planning so that, we know that beforehand and so that he doesn't have any question about that?
Yeah, so you could put that and craft the condition that way is the staff would have to review the type of building materials before it gets approved, so.
Yeah, I just don't want him to get in any, thinking that
Yeah.
there's a little bit of general kind of. Yeah, I just think it'd be wise so that everyone's on the same page.
Okay.
Mr. Saunders, can I add to the staff report? I conferred with Mr. Heinel. I just wanted to make a statement, just for clarity, just to make sure that the board and public understand that the city does not enforce any sort of restrictive covenants or deed restrictions on the property. If that's something that the neighborhood requires aside from the city's standards. Just want to make sure that's clear in this one.
Craig, you're talking about if where you're at is an HOA or something like
If
that?
Green Acres had some other standards that need to be met,
Yep.
that are specific to that subdivision, we don't enforce or
Correct.
dictate what those rules are. So just want to make sure that's clear for the record.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Craig. Yeah.
Any other questions? At this time, I'll open it up for public comment. If there's anyone from the public that would like to comment. Hearing none, I'll close this section of the public comment. Staff, you guys want to make a recommendation?
You wanna go ahead and make it, Nate, so you can put that in there, so the engineering?
Yeah, I'll make the recommendation to approve this contingent on the staff approval of the building materials prior to construction.
I'll second.
Do I have a second?
I'll
Vicky
second.
did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
So I have a contingent approval and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Present, aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
Thank you.
Item number 5, to allow smoke and vape shop. Will petitioner applicant please step forward, state your name and address?
My name is Adam. Address is 3134 West Copper Street, Bloomington, Indiana.
Okay,
Thank you. And do you want to walk us through a little bit for the application?
Yeah, so I find a spot for lease, so I listed from that guy. Applied for LLC, applied for that tobacco license. We got all of them, and then when we tried to apply for the sign permit, they told us we have to go through the special exemption applications. So we already spent a lot of money in the store, and we signed the contract with the guy about the lease and stuff like that. And then if you guys could approve this, so we don't have to lose that much of money. And
I'm having a hard time hearing. Could you speak up a little
yeah,
bit, please?
so we got the license for tobacco from the state of Indiana and from the county, and everything was fine until when we were trying to apply for the sign permit, and then they told us we have to go through this through the zoning and applying for the special exemptions.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So have you already leased it? Have you started work?
Yeah,
or-
we already got the place, we already have the merchandise there.
I'm sorry, say that again?
We already signed the lease, we already have the merchandise in the store and
Okay, so
everything.
you have merchandise, you haven't started any work or anything?
No, they are.
We
They're-
did.
They're ready to go.
Because we
Okay.
got the license from the state of Indiana,
Okay.
so we allowed to sell tobacco in there now.
But you
It's
haven't
just-
started selling. You haven't started selling the product from there yet.
No, not yet.
You're not open for business.
Not yet until we get the approval. So, until we try to apply for the permit for the sign, and then they told us we have to get to go through the zoning. There were some miscommunication between the county and the city, something like that.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Not yet.
Not yet. We'll let you know.
David, you want to?
So item number 5, special exception use 25-01 petition is to allow a smoke and vape shop. This is an existing commercial multi-unit building located at 1408 East Lincoln Way. It's actually the second, let me get the laser pointer here. So it's actually the building to the left, as you see there. And it's actually in between, you can't really see it at this view, but it's a really small unit. And you'll see in some of the photo that I have, the parcel is 12 acres in size. It's currently zoned B2 General Commercial District, of which, since of late, within the last 6 months, the city has now required a special exception use for smoke and vape shops and tobacco shops within the city limits in the B2 General Commercial Zoning District. And the petitioner is correct. Actually, the sign company came to us requesting approval of a sign for tobacco and vape. And at that time, I had recommended them that they needed to go through the special exception use process as it was written into the ordinance. This existing commercial retail building consists of pet supply store, paint store, dollar store, and a few medical clinics along East Lincoln Way there. The petitioner did supply a site plan that does show kind of where that grayed out area is where he would like to locate the proposed smoke and vape shop. And so just going through the list, I've already mentioned that this does require special exception use in the B2 General Commercial District. Just going through the definition again for you, if you're curious, it's 31.23. Its definition, vape, defines vape and smoke shop as a retail shop specializing in the selling of tobacco products, glassware, hemp products, i.e. CBD, electronic cigarettes, electronic smoking devices, liquid nicotine containers, vapor product, vaporizers, and other similar products. And so this does require approval from the Board of Zoning Appeals through the special exception process. And so the board is to go through decision criteria. There are a total of 8 8 criteria. One is that the general welfare, the proposal will not be injurious to the public health, safety, and general welfare of the community. The proposed use to allow the smoke and vape shop within an existing multi-unit retail building will be injurious to the public health, safety, and general welfare of the community. Currently, there are 8 locations within the city limits allowed to sell vape supplies prior to the zoning ordinance changes to require a special exception use approval for smoke shops, vape shops, and tobacco shops. The overconcentration and visibility of smoke shops and vape shops within the city of LaPorte presents challenges for the area school system, managing the negative impacts of vape supplies and other tobacco products on the public health. And 2, that the surrounding property, the special exception use will not be injurious to the use, enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted, nor substantially diminish or impair property values within the neighborhood. The establishment of special exception use will not impede the normal and orderly development improvement of surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. The approval of the special exception use to allow the smoke and vape shop will be injurious to the use and enjoyment of the commercial and residential properties in the immediate vicinity for the uses that are already allowed within the B2 general commercial district, so like retail, medical clinics, and the like. The proposed use will be located within about 1/8 of a mile of an existing residential manufactured home subdivision, which is located directly across East Lincoln Way to the north of the proposed location, and less than 1/4 mile of existing major industrial businesses located along East Lincoln Way and Boyd Boulevard. The establishment of the special exception use to allow the smoke and vape shop will impede the normal and orderly development improvement of surrounding permitted retail and industrial businesses. And 3, that the special exception shall not be hazardous to adjacent property or involve uses, activities, materials, or equipment which will be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of persons or property. This proposed use does involve materials or equipment which will be detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare of the general public. This proposed location for the smoke and vape shop will be hazardous to adjacent retail stores and industrial businesses in a high-profile and heavily traveled commercial retail complex because of the negative public health effects of vape supplies and other tobacco products. And then 4 is basically about the public facilities and services. It's saying that this will be served by essential public facilities and services. This proposed use is located in an existing retail unit complex, which is already has the parking lot, access to the highway, and so there's no existing utilities that would be needed, is basically what that one's saying. 5, that the development requirements, the development of the property will be consistent with the intent of the development requirements established by this ordinance for similar uses. The development will be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained to be compatible with and not significantly alter the existing or intended character of the general vicinity based upon the county comprehensive land development plan. The development of this property for a smoke and vape shop would not be consistent with the intent of the development requirements established by the 2017 City of LaPorte joint revised zoning ordinance to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of the community. This proposed use for a smoke and vape shop in an existing commercial retail building will significantly alter the intended character for other commercial retail businesses and restaurants that are already permitted. Some are required by special exception use, but the main retail uses like Dollar Tree, pet supply store, cell phone store, paint store, things like that that don't involve an extensive impact on the surrounding area. 6, that the ordinance intent granting the special exception use will not be contrary to the general purposes served by the ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same zoning district and vicinity. And so this one, it touches basically on number 5. Basically, it's saying the approval of the special exception use to allow a smoke and vape shop will be contrary to the general purposes served by the zoning ordinance for protecting the health, safety, and general welfare of the community. The existing commercial retail building is intended to provide retail spaces. They're allowed within the B2 General Commercial District by right, without need for additional approvals. 7, county land development plan. The proposed use will be consistent with the character of the zoning district in which it is located and the recommendations of the county land development plan. The proposed use to allow the smoke and vape shop will not be consistent with the character of the B2 General Commercial Zoning District with the existing commercial retail businesses and the recommendations of the countywide land development plan because of the negative impacts to the health, safety, and general welfare of the community. And number 8 is use regulations, but there are no use regulations for smoke and vape shops. So staff does find that the approval of the special exception use petition to allow the smoke and vape shop is not consistent with the countywide comprehensive land development plan and the general character of the surrounding commercial retail stores that are permitted in residential dwellings within the surrounding area beyond that. And so staff recommends denial of special exception use petition 25-01, and I'll answer any questions if you have them.
I think we do. So for those that are watching on Facebook and YouTube, the location of this is by Pet Supplies Plus. I know you can't see some of the maps that we can see here. Craig and David, maybe you can answer this. I know that you mentioned City Council approved a new kind of vape ordinance, so is the default to not to deny this in the ordinance, to not approve any more vape shops, and we then need to approve one if we're going to have a special exemption? Is that essentially the default position of the city right now?
So I think it's kind of on a case-by-case basis. So in a particular location, looking at the merits of how does that fit within the intended character of that existing area and how close it is to certain things, the proximity, looking at those factors, understanding, does this fit within a certain area? That's what the board is to consider. I think that's something that, I don't know, Craig isn't, yeah.
I would just add that I think the council's intent with this ordinance was that, you know, an applicant would need to make a pretty compelling argument as to what the benefit to the community would be for that use in order for that to be considered. So I think that's the burden that falls upon the petitioner in the case.
And then when did you?
We don't feel that, you know, we're recommending that has not been met in our opinion.
And I'm sorry, when did you say that they made that, the council made that recommendation?
Was it
Last year?
I believe it was it 23 or 24?
Okay, so
It's like
been a while.
October.
I think it was within last year.
I think it was last year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it went into effect last year, so it does affect all properties that have not already received those approvals in the past.
I think what we want to be careful of as the BZA is we don't want to pick winners and losers, right? And so we want to be adherent to the code. And so if the code is, or the council, you know, has a code and such that
They don't make those we don't want to make those kinds of statements. It's on a case-by-case basis. So again, it's based on the merits of the project.
yeah.
And in this case, we feel that the public health concerns related to the use outweigh the benefits to the community based on the location, in a prominent location within our community.
But you could say that about any vape shop.
Possibly, but again, this is case-specific.
And there's been no approval of vape shops since that ordinance
Correct.
passed.
Correct.
Okay. I have another question too. How did we get to a place where they have already built out this place, they've already filled it with all of their stuff? Who approved, like, how did we get there?
So our current rules, if there is not a change of use from the standpoint of occupancy, do not require additional approvals for the occupancy of a space. So it's not going from a retail use to a restaurant or to, another type of assembly use or something like that. So there's nothing that triggers a review of that space until something like this comes in. So unfortunately, that's the situation. Indiana doesn't have rules that allow for transfer stamps, or similar to other states where it's automatically caught because someone has to, when they bring in a new business, they, are notified at that point that that use does not conform. We don't have that ability in the state of Indiana to do that, so unfortunately.
You can't make it a municipal.
I don't think, I don't want to speak to that
Yeah,
right now. That's
okay.
something we would have to discuss with our legal team, but
Yep.
at this point, that's our situation, is that unfortunately, we rely on change of use, and that triggers what's called site review at that point, and then through the site review process, we can notify people of requirements, or in this case, we're made aware when a sign permit is applied for. You know, I guess also, some of this falls upon the applicant to not have done any work without permits or without, you know, that kind of thing prior to, I guess, making that investment. There's a buyer beware aspect to this as well, so.
So had he not wanted to update that sign, he almost could have started his
It's
business.
possible, yeah. I mean, it's something we can look into. I don't know the legalities of that off the top without, you know, conferring with our.
It seems like if there's something we can do as a municipality to fix that, it would be incumbent on us to fix that. Because again, I think it's unfair to even, you know,
I'm not aware of any other municipality in Indiana doing something like that, so it's just, like
Hey,
I said, we would have to
let's
look
be
into that
innovative.
far more in depth than just, yeah, I'm not sure that it's precedent, there's any precedent for that in the state.
Thank you, Craig.
thanks, Craig. And thanks, David.
Need a motion?
At this time, I'll open it up for public comment, and then
Okay.
afterwards, if any of us have more questions.
Actually, in regards to public comment, did any of the other businesses in that area speak out about this?
We notified them by certified mail, and then we didn't hear nothing from them.
Okay.
I would,
So
yeah.
notice would be sent to property owners by law, not to tenants, other tenants in the complex.
Okay.
So that's to clarify that, that's the notice that would have been sent out.
Yeah, I could speak to that and add clarification. We didn't receive any comments from any of the surrounding property owners or tenants for that matter.
But again, the certified letter is going to go to the owner of the property, and I assume, is that one owner of that whole tenant, or no? Or whole facility?
We posted it in the news too.
I'm sorry, I
Okay, you
can't
posted
hear
a
you.
notice? Okay,
Posted in 2 newspaper
thank you.
10 days before the meeting.
When did you sign the lease for that location?
We signed at least 4 months ago.
4 months, okay.
Okay.
We start working, getting the licensing, the LLC, merchandise and everything. And then when we about to get the permit for the sign, that's when we find out that there's exception for smoke shops.
Do you own or operate any other vape shops here on the board?
Yes, the issue is I have couple smoke shop in Indiana,
Uh-huh,
and normally some of the cities, they don't even ask for a sign permit.
uh-huh.
You just give them the measurement and then pay them the fees and that's it. And then I was expecting it to be the same, what I'm doing, you know, because this is my first time dealing with the zoning, getting permit for a smoke shop, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't aware of this kind of stuff, so I was doing just like what I've been doing, getting my tobacco license and LLC and everything and open. Yeah, but this is,
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah, regardless of whether or not this is approved or denied, I do wish that was a better system for all of us, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I wish I known because I would have came here, applied for the permit first before I spend that much
For
of
sure.
money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can clarify the public notice requirement for this adjacent property owner. So the ones that he sent the notice to would have been the Walmart property, this property right here, the medical clinic, and then across Lincoln Way, the 2 parcels here, and then the Burger King parcel. And then this is the city to the east.
I guess I'll close the public comment, even though we got it kind of away from that, but,
I'll make a motion, per the recommendation of the staff, to deny the special exception use petition 2501.
do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, sir. Item number 6, old business. Item number 7, new business. Or 8, other business. Public comments that aren't agenda related.
I just wanted to make a comment. So tomorrow is going to be our first comprehensive plan open house, so I did pass it out to you as well as the audience. This is to set the direction of the city in terms of future land use development, so more than welcome to attend, invite people to attend. We're open to, it's going to be kind of a free-flowing opportunity for people to come, so one is going to be 12 to 3, or noon to 3 at the Exchange Building, right on Indiana Avenue, LaPorte County Library, Exchange Building.
Oh, okay.
And then 5 to 8 is at the Civic.
Building two, sorry.
Again, just
Yeah.
come and provide input as you see fit during that.
And David, everyone's invited to this?
Yep.
Okay.
And then there's also a website.
Just let me
Yeah.
add to that real quick. So basically, it's the comprehensive plan for the city. We reference it all the time in our staff reports. Basically, we're looking at the future land use and development decisions for the city going forward, and guidance for us to consider as we consider development proposals, variances, rezonings, the like. This is the document that we would reference. In the past, we have used the countywide land development plan. We feel that the time has come for the city to have its own comprehensive plan for the future. Last time the city had that was in the mid-90s, and we feel it's overdue, and our city has kind of changed and evolved enough that it's time for us to kind of have our own document to work from, that deal with our, more intrinsically what our issues are within the city, and consider land use, transportation, growth, housing, utilities, lots of other topics will be explored as part of this. So it'll be set up in open house format at those 2 locations. People are encouraged to come in and invited to participate, give their input at the various stations that we'll have set up for different topics for the community to participate.
Is this just for residents of the city, or can residents of the county come to this as well?
Anybody can participate in this.
Okay, anybody
For the
can come?
public, period.
All right, great. And 2 different locations, again, just a reminder, those who are watching and listening.
Yeah, noon noon to 3 at the Exchange LaPorte County Public Library Exchange Building, and 5 to 8 p.m. at the LaPorte Civic Auditorium.
And the website again for this?
www.ourlaporte.com.
We're good at this, Craig, you and me. Look at this.
Yep.
Way to go.
And information provided at both places is going to be the same. It's just,
Yep, same thing, twice, just
Time
different
schedules.
opportunities for people to participate, just different times of the day.
Okay.
Just to mix it up and give more opportunity.
thank you.
And we'll probably have an additional session like this in the future to gather more input as the plan develops, so.
So if you've got strong opinions of what the city should or should not do, come
Now's the
on
time-
out.
now's
Now
to
is
come
the
and share
time to do
those.
it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Craig. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.